Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Weishuhn. If you enjoy real-world hunting and fishing talk, you're really going to enjoy listening to my good friend Luke Clayton and his guest for the next hour.
This is Dustin Vaughn Warnke, producer of this fine show that's been airing for the past 20 years. Welcome to Outdoors with Luke Clayton and Friends. Luke has been a recognized outdoor writer for the past 4 decades and writes for a whole host of outdoor publications. Luke pens a weekly outdoors column that appears in over 50 Texas newspapers, and he's lived the outdoor lifestyle since childhood. Luke partners with such companies as Pyramid Air, the ultimate source for air guns and outdoor essentials, CVA muzzleloaders, and their fine line of CVA Cascade centerfire rifles, Smokin' Tex electric smokers, ATN thermal scopes and binoculars, the Choctaw Hunting Lodge in southeast Oklahoma, owned by the Choctaw Nation, Butcher Packer Supply, everything for the home butcher and sausage maker, the Dallas Safari Club at biggame.org, and the Saskatchewan Department of Tourism. Now, here's Luke to kick things off with his longtime friend, Larry Weishuhn.
Well, guys, thank you for that nice introduction. And friends, it is time for our weekly radio show. Every week, Mr. Weishuhn is with me. He's with me now. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about the outdoors, probably a little hunting talk. Larry, thank you for being with us. I look forward to getting to visit with you every week, and seems like everywhere I go, somebody makes a comment. Yeah, I enjoyed the visit, they call it, with you and Larry. So let's have a visit. What do you say?
Luke, I am ready. You know, I got to spend some time with the 2 different DSC chapters here very, very recently. One called the Texas Gulf Coast that I'm a part of. Well, I'm a part of all of them, I guess, but also the DSC East Texas chapter, and had an absolutely great time with those folks. Of course, DSC, Conservation Education, Hunter Advocacy, and those chapter systems are really a great thing, and I can learn more about that by, it's been said in the past, by going to biggame.org. Mentioning them, I had an opportunity to also spend a little time with Dr. John McCall and Joe Cunningham the other afternoon with Stealth Vision. They were truing a bunch of rifles, and of course, both that company too builds fantastic optics and for both hunting, well, anything having to do with hunting when you get right down to it. And I'm mentioning them, and I'm going to mention Taurus as well too a little bit, because we've got a auction coming up here before too very long to support conservation through DSC. We got the DSC Summer Show that's going to be on us here in July 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th at the Gaylord Texan there in Grapevine, Texas. And oh my gosh, there's so many good things going to happen in that show. You're going to be there. I'm going to be there for the entirety of the show. And then right before that, we got Texas Wildlife Association thing coming up like 2 weekends before. So, you know, we've got a lot of convention type stuff coming up here in the next few days. But somewhere between all that, we're going to have to kind of slip away somewhere and use a little bit of that Hornady, accurate, diddly, dependable ammo, and maybe do a little fishing as well too.
Well, there's a lot to do, and we've got a lot of fun stuff on the books. And yeah, there at Gaylord, I look forward. I'm going to be there, by golly, and I just want to take it all in. It's I'm looking forward to that, getting there and getting to talk, maybe talk about our radio show with some people that I know that you're there all the time, and you've told me a lot that a lot of people come up and comment, by golly, we've been doing this for 20 years, Larry. I know some people. So you mentioned Stealth Vision. Let's talk a lot maybe about scopes. Now, I have been the gamut on scopes, and I bet you most people listening too. I've shot enough scopes in years past to know that you're probably not going to go to a package store and pay $89.99 and get a quality scope. You might luck out, but their price point is for volume. I know that. I learned that a long time ago. So a good scope, like a Stealth Vision scope, is not going to be cheap, but honestly, it's to my way of thinking, Larry, a good quality scope is more important than spending the same amount of money. I think for the truth of the matter is for $500 you can get a off-the-counter quality rifle. Several brands. I've used them. You've used them. But if you put that $70 scope on there, you might be opening yourself up to a bunch of trouble. So, so I guess what I'm saying is invest more money in your scope than you do your rifle long term, and you're probably going to be better off.
It is, to me. It's a stout investment. I mean, it takes a little bit of money to get that high quality scope such as those produced by Stealth Vision. But the thing about it is, it's going to be a good scope. You're going to be using it for years and years and years, and probably be passing it on to your kids and grandkids, kind of thing. And that's what Stealth Vision is. I mean, you can buy a lot of decent scopes out there for little or no money when you get right down to it, compared to what you might pay for a really good quality scope. But then chances are in about 2 or 3 years you're going to have to buy another one because it's not working anymore, kind of thing, like you wanted to. And so to me, you invest in a good scope, and you can get by with a whole lot lesser price rifle these days, like some of the CVA guns that you shoot. And I've shot some Mossbergs and Rugers, and you name the companies, and the quality of the rifles these days is phenomenal compared to what it was years ago. And some of those relatively inexpensive rifles shoot as well as those extremely high dollar rifles do. And in some instances, I've seen maybe even a little bit better at times. But and particularly too with the ammo that we have these days, years ago, Hornady developed some things dealing with the Doppler radar, and they learned so much about bullet traveling through the air, and and those kind of things. And the ammo that we have these days, particularly that which is produced by Hornady, and they're on the leading edge of all these things. And with the ammo we have, with the rifles we have now, with the optics we have, such as the Stealth Vision, my gracious. And of course, they also produce some unbelievable spotting scopes, and I think they've even got a new suppressor that's out now called the Beast that I had a chance to look at the other afternoon. I was really, really impressed. It's a relatively short one, and that's what I don't have one on my rifle right now, but if I put one on either of the rifles I have, it will probably be one of those that they call the Beast from Stealth Vision, just simply because it's good looking. It matches, fits on the rifle a little lot better, and it doesn't look like you got a stovepipe on the end of it.
Exactly. But, you and I both, we're not keen on that aspect of those. But Larry, this may help some of our listeners. Stealth Vision. We'll take, for instance, where I got my CVA. I had a Cascade 6.5 PRC there, and took it down. But they offer some really fine rifles. But Joe Cunningham is their lead gunsmith, and very, very knowledgeable about anything rifle shooting. But I took mine down, and they do this as a service. If you want a precision rifle, and you want one that's going to shoot out to 1,000 yards or whatever, they have scheduled times to come in down in right there at Houston County Lake, right there on the shores of it, down in not far from Crockett, Texas, 15 minutes from Crockett, Texas, maybe. Well, so they scheduled people to come down, and I think it's just a learning experience, if they want it to be, see what a rifle and a quality scope can do. And they also they sell the scopes, but in my situation, I brought the stock CVA Cascade down that I think off the counter, like we said, most of them will hold a minute of angle, 100 yards, shoot a 1-inch group. And that one did. But it also stretched it on out there to a minute of angle, like I don't remember exactly, 500-600 yards. Now, that's pretty good for a stock rifle, I think. But people can do that. They could go, say you want a tack driver and a scope that'll do it. You can schedule with Stealth Vision, go down there and check them out, can't you?
You really can. I mean, they've shown me. I had not had a chance to be over at there at Dr. McCall's place out right on, just really off the banks of the Trinity when you get right down to it. But they've got a 1,200-yard range and in a real nice home that served as a camp for a long time, and just got on the back porch and you shoot from the back porch. But the thing about it is they're coming out with their own line of rifles as well too. And I'll tell you what, I had a chance to shoot those a couple of days ago, and I was really impressed. If you want a rifle that you can shoot, oh my gosh, less than a minute a group, minute a angle at 1,200 yards. Well, let's put it like this: that would be 12 inches. But they're shooting groups that are 3 and 4 inch groups at 1,000 yards, and unbelievable accuracy in those things. And they're getting ready to release these rifles, and they've got a few of them available right now. But two, if you've got a rifle that you really like, and regardless of what brand or whatever it is you can schedule a time and show up. And when I was there, we had 3 people that were there from over around Midland, Odessa area of Texas, and had their own rifles with them. And they put some scopes on them, and they were amazed. The best groups they'd ever shot in the past, were not real good when you get right down to it at long ranges. And they were consistently hitting beer type groups at 1,000 yards with their guns. And of course, it changed in ammo a little bit too. I think they were shooting something, and they got them onto some Hornady ammo. But man, it seemed to make all the difference in the world. So anybody that wants to do that, they can do that. They can go to stealthvision.com, and there's all kinds of information there. And Joe lives up in Missouri, but he spends 2 weeks in Missouri, and then he spends 2 weeks in Texas. And so if you want to schedule a time when Joe's down, I got a feeling they can accommodate you.
They can. And, the precision rifles, in other words, the really, we'll just call it what it is, more expensive, high-dollar rifles. They're going to cost more money than a off-the-counter standard rifle, whether it be a CVA or whatever. They're going to cost more money. Than the rifle, the stock. Now, those rifles are probably, now I'm just being quite frank about it, they're probably not going to be your 1,200-yard minute of angle rifles. They're just not. But most of them, and definitely the CVA, I mean, when am I going to be hunting or shooting any? I shoot to hunt, to where I can be proficient. I usually pick out one rifle that becomes my favorite, and I get to know it well. But so it held a minute of angle out to, I believe it was 600 yards. That's a 6-inch group at 600 yards.
Right.
Now, that's good to shoot. And with that stealth vision scope, you just, once it's sighted in and zeroed, you just crank it over to 6, by golly, and put the, wait till the little green light comes on to show that it's level, squeeze it off, and bingo. So that, for me, that's all I need. That's what I need. I don't, I'm not going to be shooting a deer at 600 yards ever. I'm just not. But it really gives confidence for me shooting a deer at 300 yards. It's just a confidence builder. So I won't be taking that rifle in competition shooting 1,000 yards. But so there's the difference. And I think a lot of hunters are in my boat. I mean, fun to shoot at 1,200 yards. It's a lot of fun, or 1,000 yards. But in hunting, the real world hunting situations, most rifles, 500 yards, they're going to be good, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I think most people, unless you shoot a lot and you know how to read the wind, and that's the toughest thing in the world to really learn. But I think most people who shoot rifles really ought to not be shooting. They ought to set their limit at about 400 yards when it comes to shooting game. Now, shooting steel where that target's not going to move, or shooting a milk jug that far, that's fun when you start breaking them. I mean, I love to shoot my Taurus Raging Hunter handguns in a 454 and a 44 mag with Hornady ammo out to 500 yards, shooting at a 14-inch gong. And I love doing that. but that the reason I do that, the same reason I shoot at 1,000 and 1,200 yards with rifles, is so that when I can know that rifle, know the capabilities of it, or that firearm, know my capabilities, so that when I crawl within 100 yards or less, I can precisely place that bullet, kind of thing. And
you bet.
And to me, that's the value of shooting the long range. Is just to gain confidence and spend time and learning that gun that you're shooting. And even like with the crossbow, I started shooting a
10 point, yeah.
Yeah, 10 point. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm stuttering there for a second.
I got one too. Yeah, there.
We're shooting those things out to 45 or farther yards, but I would not shoot at an animal that far.
No,
To me, it's going to be 25 to 30. And maybe if I have to shoot a second time, if I shoot one and he kind of gets sick out there at 40 yards, I might try to put another one in him. But I'm going to shoot long range with those things, just so that the same thing, so I can develop confidence with them, so that I know when I get close, I can precisely place that bolt.
You betcha. Larry, we are about out of time for this segment.
Yes,
I'll tell you what I want to do, though. I'll tell you what I'd like to do. Our mutual friend Samuel Old is going to come in. I've got him scheduled next. We're going to talk about a destination for the summer getaway in Virginia. He's got a place up there that's absolutely awesome. I know you're going to be hunting deer with Samuel this fall, but we're going to get
in November.
In November. We're going to get Samuel on to tell our friends about Virginia, what all he's got up there, and then I'd like you to come back maybe. Then we're going to talk a little fishing. I got Chris Webb. I'm going to try to get him on, talk about some crappie fishing. And then at the last segment, I want you to come back and let's talk about crossbows. How about that?
You got a deal.
Well, friends, Mr. Larry Weishuhn is going to tell you about the finest hunting optics that we have ever found.
Look, these are called Stealth Vision. They come from Crockett, Texas. Dr. John McCall developed them. They're 34 millimeter tubes as opposed to the narrower tubes, so more light transmission. They have a little green light that comes on. That scope is level because that's when you want to pull the trigger. They have an optional lighted reticle as well too, and a whole lot of other products. And folks can learn more about them by going to stealthvision.com.
If you enjoy hunting, I want to hook you up with Ultramatic Feeders. You need to know about this company. The website is ultramaticfeeders.com. There are a one-shop stop for everything you need with hunting blinds. They have all kind of different brands of hunting blinds, game feeders, parts for feeders. Again, the website is ultramaticfeeders.com. And friends, I've been using Smoking Tex electric smokers for over 15 years, probably closer to 20 years. You can go online to smokingtex.com. They're not one of your throwaway electric smokers that you can find at some package stores. These things are made to last. I've got one that I've been using for, that length of time, probably 15 years. Check them out online, smokingtex.com. Well, friends, as me and Larry alluded to, we have a mutual friend, Mr. Samuel Old, that owns a place up in Virginia. And let's call this a destination segment if you like, but it's an outdoor wonderland up there on Craig Creek. So let's visit with Sam, and you might want to plan, if you're going up that part of the world this summer, you might want to plan a stay there. Sam, thank you for being with us, sir.
Luke, you just don't know how much of an honor it is to be here with you on this radio this time. I listen to you and Larry all the time, and of course that's what I do. If I'm not out working, I'm listening to you guys, and Lord, what great people you all are.
Well, we have a good time, I guarantee you. But so I want people to know about what you do up there, Sam. And it's in Virginia, a couple hours from, D.C.? Is not that far?
Yes, sir. That's a couple hours from D.C. And I think when Wade Derby came in here, he flew into Greensboro, and I think it's about a 3-hour drive from there, But
yeah. Yeah.
But you can also come into Roanoke. They just opened up a direct flight from Roanoke to DFW and back from DFW to Roanoke.
Yeah.
And it's about 2 hours and 10 minutes, I think, to get into Roanoke. Then you're about an hour away from me.
It's close.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Well,
sir.
let's paint the picture for our friends listening. Now, Samuel was born and he was raised right there on this piece of land. And the home, your home as a boy growing up, has been completely remodeled. It's now where the guests stay, and it's a beautiful place. And folks can go. The easiest way to learn about all this that I found, Sam, is just Craig Creek Shady Rest. Google that. Craig, Craig, Craig Creek Shady Rest. You can learn all about it. But it's right there. I mean, Craig Creek is, folks can fish right there, just a short distance from the porch, right?
Oh yes, you could all. There has been times when the creek got up that you could actually cast a line off the deck. but anyway, normally it's probably maybe 50 feet down over the bank.
That's all. Yeah, right on the creek. And that's where you were raised. And now I know it's different probably than when you were a boy, because it's a modern, beautiful home right there. But people coming in, I think it's also like an Airbnb. Is that right?
Yes, sir, it is. And the old house that I haven't really done a search on it, but I know that house is well over 100 years old now.
Is that right?
But it's been kept up pretty well. My dad kept it up pretty well, and actually the way we acquired it was my granddad moved into it in the early 50s, and then he sold it to my dad. But anyhow, to get back to the Shady Rest itself, yes, we refurbished the whole inside of it. And what I plan on doing is doing a walkthrough video and adding it to the Shady Rest site. But yes, people that have been here already. As a matter of fact, we had people here this weekend, and that we've already had several guests here.
Yeah,
and they love it. They love it.
Well, who wouldn't, Sam? And so to paint the picture better for you folks, Sam is an astute studier of wildlife. He is. He manages that several hundred acres there for white-tailed deer. There's tons of turkey. I know our buddy Larry Weishuhn, I would like to be able to do it. I don't think my schedule's I don't think I can make it up there this fall, but who knows, I might be able to. But Larry's going to come up and hunt deer with you. That's kind of a side thing from the lodging, and to come there and fish and enjoy the wildlife. It's an awesome place for a wildlife photographer too, to get some awesome pictures. And just, I won't say it's off the grid, but when the sun goes down, it's kind of dark back in that area. It's not a whole lot of people there, so it's a retreat, if you will, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, when it gets dark, it's dark here. As a matter of fact, I've had some people from the in the cities that have come here, and I know they've been, they're not used to that, and they get just a little bit scared, I think.
Yeah,
but I got to let people understand that I'm right up the hill from them, and there's nothing going to happen to them.
No.
I've been here all of my life,
Yeah.
And as far as the wildlife goes, I was watching some of the people down there the other day, and they're on the porch, and there were deer on every side of the house. There were deer down in the creek. There were deer out in the field behind the house. There were deer up here toward me. And, of course, right now we're starting to see the little fawns with them. I think you've seen the videos of those that I've got on, and there are fawns running around down there everywhere. And once in a while, you may look down the creek or down one of the fields and see an old bear go through.
Right. They're bear. I know there's a sow that raised cubs there. Been on your place for a while. Well, that's awesome. And I keep thinking about a good photo opportunity, though, Sam, and it is that people that stay there, they can go around and if they want to do a little photo safari, they can do that.
Absolutely.
Fishing on that creek, that creek, does it connect directly with I know there's the James River. There's all kind of rivers up there. But the coast is, how far would it be, to the coast where
to Norfolk down and towards Hampton? That's about a 3.5 hour, maybe 4 hour drive.
Yeah.
But
for us
yeah,
Texans,
Texans,
that's Dallas to Houston. It's
yeah,
not that
that's
big
right.
a deal. But there's
That's right.
once you're there, it would make a great headquarters, and it does for a lot of
Yes.
sightseeing. Now, if I were there, Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement. I've learned that in the third grade, I think.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, I would want to see that, and that's a few hours drive. I mean, they could head you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've got, of course, Richmond is right there close to it if they want to see Richmond. But there's a lot of history here in Virginia, and we've got also got a little hotel up here in town that. And our courthouse was a subject of the, I think, the Civil War. They came through here and tried to burn it down, chop it down. As a matter of fact, they still got some of the columns up there in the courtroom where I can't remember the name of the troop's name or but where he tried to chop the wood out of one of the columns. That's still there. But anyway, there's a lot of history here that they can go see, and they got hiking.
Yep.
They've got bird watching. They can watch animals. They can fish. You can. There's a lot to do here, and I'm going to tell you the truth about it, Luke. I had a little fella come up here one time from one of the a boys' camp down here below me, and he was standing out here in my driveway, and he said, Lord, he was looking around, and he said, Lord, Mr. Old, he said, you must have a lot of fun here. I said, buddy, you ought to own it. But there's a lot of upkeep to it, if you have a place like this. And I try to keep it as nice as I can, but at the same time, I've got some old buildings down here, an old corn crib, an old mill house that I need to clean up a little bit, but they're real old, a lot of history in those things. If they want to stand down there or ask me questions about it, I can tell them a little bit about that kind of stuff. A lot of people like that kind of stuff,
You bet. Well, there's not too many people that can say that they're still living on the land that their grandfather was on. I wish I could say that. My roots are up in Red River County, and there's still, quite honestly, there's an old log structure on a piece of land. A good buddy of mine owns that. Some of those old, this was a log cabin, but some of those logs are still there on the ground, and I'd like to somehow preserve those. But I think it's really neat that you've got a place like that that's been in the family, and people traveling to there up to that part of the world. I couldn't think of it. That would be light years ahead of a motel, whatever, on the side of the highway. Come up there and enjoy that. And then we've got I want you to connect people with Facebook. Folks, Sam posts a lot of interesting videos of game, and turkey and deer. How do they get there on Facebook to find all that?
All right. Well, you can go onto my site on Facebook. It's it's Craig's Creek Deer and Wildlife Management.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And also I put stuff on my regular Facebook site, which is Samuel Old.
Yep.
And I've also got a YouTube channel that's Samuel Old Outdoors.
Yep.
And it's all kind of confusing in a way, but once you go to one, you can pretty much get to the rest of them because one will advertise the other.
That's right. Well, I will say this: we're about out of time, but folks, here's what you need to do if you want to get up there for a getaway this summer, or maybe talk to Sam about a deer hunt this fall or turkey next spring. Just Google Craig, C-R-A-I-G, Creek Shady Rest. And by golly, you'll learn everything about it. Sam, thank you for being with us. I just had some time in today's show. I wanted you to get on there and tell everybody about the Shady Rest and all the fun stuff that you've got going up there in Virginia, buddy.
Well, Luke, I certainly appreciate it, and God's blessings to you and Larry also. It's just that's a wonderful friendship, buddy. I love it.
Friends, this is Luke. If you're looking to refinance a mortgage or maybe buy some rural land or whatever, I want to recommend to you a company that I've had some stellar dealings with. It's Green Lending. Now, you can go online to greenlending.com. I'm going to give you the name of a guy that helped me tremendously, Jack Hamill. And I'm going to give you Jack's number. Give Jack a call if you want to refinance or you want to buy some rural land or whatever. Jack's number there at Green Lending is 440-223-2086. Or just go to greenlending.com and check it out. It's a great company. I had some wonderful dealings with them, and most of it was done online.
Big Sam left Seattle in the year of 92 with George Pratt, his partner, and brother Billy too. They crossed the
Friends, this segment is made possible by Platinum Cadillac and Chevrolet in Terrell, Texas. Stop by and visit with my buddy Mr. Justin Rudd and his team of experts and let them put you in a new Chevy pickup or a Cadillac or whatever you might be in the market for. Also, the Choctaw Hunting Lodge up in southeast Oklahoma. Check them out at ChoctawHuntingLodge.com. Also made possible by Pyramid Air, your one-stop shop for everything airgun related. Well, friends, just last week I got off the water down at Cedar Creek Lake with Chris Webb. Chris has been guiding for a long time on a crappie trip. That's what we were doing. Jeff Rice was with us, and we actually filmed our outing, and it's on A Sportsman's Life. You can go to Carbon TV at carbontv.com, and you can watch it right now. It's on YouTube also. Not so many people watch it on YouTube, but a lot of people watch it on Carbon TV. But go there and check it out. Now, we're going to talk about, Chris is going to give you some information that'll help you catch some crappie in the summertime, and we'll talk about our trip. Chris, thank you, buddy, for being with us, and thanks for one heck of a good day, good morning out there catching those crappie.
Hey, you bet, Luke, man. Appreciate you having me on this morning, buddy.
Yep, always like to get you on. And, you know, the things that we cover, that you talk about are kind of old hat to you, but I guarantee you they help a lot of people catch fish. And crappie is what we're concentrating on right now. The thing that impressed me, or the thing that I took away from that trip, and folks, we loaded up a cooler with a bunch of, and some nice crappie. What I learned quickly is the soft bite. In other words, I'm going to say that most people, you know, that's not accustomed to catching crappie when they're not attacking the bait, I mean, you'd lose a lot of, you might not catch any. I mean, really, you know.
You could definitely go on the skunk.
Yeah, but I remember the first thing that you did is explain to us that, I call it loading the rod, but just a heavy feel sometimes. That's all you had. It's just you'd feel that rod, the line kind of load up, not like a bite that would pull the tip of the rod down, just a heavy feel. And that's when you need to set the hook. Live minnows, that's the ticket, wasn't it, Chris?
Absolutely. This time of the year, it's a must.
Yep. I would imagine I probably couldn't have caught one on a jig. You probably could have caught a few, finessed a few in the boat on a jig right now, but for numbers, you do this time of year, you do need to go to minnows, don't you?
Luke, I tell you, if we were trying to feed the family on jigs right now, we'd be a little thinner for sure.
we'd be a little bit hungry, yeah. Well, yeah. So tell our friends, you know, some information like the depths. And you were fishing lay down trees, brush piles. But they're on a summer pattern now, aren't they?
Absolutely. They're on that summer pattern. They're on that main basin. Early in the morning when we have our cool mornings with the low light conditions, as you saw, we started in about 10 to 12 foot on some lay down logs. With that low light conditions, those shallow fish are active. As that sun gets up a little taller, we definitely will slide out into that 15, 20 foot range. You'll find those shallower fish have fed all morning, and as they're finishing up, they're just kind of gorged, and they're not really as interested towards the afternoon period. Those deeper fish are definitely more active as we move into that afternoon, and like you were saying, we'll put that live minnow on their head, and Luke, the summertime pattern is just a nice, steady, smooth, slow race, same speed, no pause, no stop, no change. And as you saw, a lot of the bites are either when you pick it up, it just feels like you've hooked the limb and it's heavy, like you called it, rod loading, and you just pick it up and he's on there. The next one is as you slow raise, it's the little soft perch peck. And the last one is you sit it down, it just goes slack like you set it on the bottom.
Right.
But
And
most of your big fish are visual, for sure.
yep, and that's when you feel slack in the line too. That's what you were saying. That's what you were talking about.
Slack
Yeah.
is the enemy. Yes, sir. You saw we'll go to the bottom.
Yep.
We'll take our slack, and then we'll come up a full revolution on that reel. That way, when you go slack, you know you're not setting it on the bottom.
Exactly. It's yep. So this pattern will hold until fall, won't it, Chris? You know.
Absolutely, until we start getting some cold fronts in late September, October, and then everything will start shifting to the fall pattern.
And one thing that I noticed that you did is we caught fish on every brush pile, every one of them. But when the bite would slow down, you know, maybe one of us would get a bite, say every 3 or 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Well, at that point, you'd start. I'd see you got a little bit active, and you say, well, let's go to another spot. And then that's the thing about fishing for crappie that's always amazed me. You know, they're the same lake, same depth, same structure, and then this little bunch, they're through eating. The other
Isn't
one,
it crazy?
It is, isn't it? Really, I mean,
it absolutely is. And you know, right now you can tell what mood those fish are in. Most piles you pull up on, you're going to get 3 to 6 fish. They're going to be the active guard fish, and once they bite or they're done, the other fish are just not really interested, whether they're digesting, whatever the mood is. When you pull up on a pile and it's active, Luke, you saw it. You can get 15,
Yep.
25 fish, and it's just continuous. Those fish are ready to feed, and it's game time from almost the first drop.
You bet. Well, you'll be happy to hear this, but we were there early, which I'm glad. This in the summertime, that early morning bite, the first 3 hours or so of daylight, is when we were fishing, and we were off the water before it got really hot. And when I got home, guess what? Old Jeff Rice, he's our videographer for A Sportsman's Life, and he loves video. But we half those fish up, and I thought, well, you know, I mean, they will never be fresher than they are right now. This is no kidding. I've got a little fish cleaning or where I butcher game and everything else out there behind the house. I got a sink full of fresh, clean water, and I went to work with that fillet knife. And I thought, well, I had that we caught a bunch, and half of them was a bunch. So I filleted. I kept about, I don't know, probably 8 more than I really should have. But I've cooked up. I fried some like immediately. Took them, filleted them, put them in that clean water, washed them up, drained them off, milled them right in I had the skillet and all right out there. Yeah, it was. I don't know if I've ever had any better fish.
That sounds good right now.
It is. It's hard to beat. And, you know, I've always maybe not given crappie enough, good words for it. I've always said that people that don't like fish will eat crappie, you know.
You know, it's funny how that works. It's America's favorite freshwater fish, and it's the blandest, cleanest tasting fish out there. They don't want to taste fish for sure.
That's it. I put them with walleye. I fished up in Canada and Saskatchewan a lot. Actually, the Department of Tourism is one of our sponsors up in Saskatchewan. So I've been up in those fly-in camps a whole bunch. And walleye are really, really good, but they also are kind of a neutral flavored fish.
Absolutely.
But it's hard for me to talk crappie without talking about eating them. But the truth is, you know, you can. Here's a fact that some people may not know. We also caught a few yellow bass too, and some pretty nice, 10-inch ones maybe, which is a pretty good sized yellow bass.
Absolutely.
I filleted those. I remember you saying, well, do you want to keep those? And oh, you bet. Yeah. But
man, they're definitely underrated.
They are. And the truth of the matter is, for most fishermen, you can put a crappie fillet, and then a yellow bass fillet there, and it's hard to tell the difference, really. I mean, they're good. Yeah.
Look, if they got any bigger, they'd be extinct.
I know, you're right. I used to know a guy years ago when I first started riding that in the wintertime when those things school up, big schools, the yellow bass, he guided for those. And he had quite a few people coming out for those. I mean, there's no limit. I think there's still no limit on yellow bass.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You cannot. Go right ahead. Uh-huh.
It's just like a crappie and a perch had a baby. It's the same white, clean meat of the crappie and a little sweetness of the perch.
That's it. And you can keep a bunch of them. So we need to fast forward until about next January. You can catch them in the winter in big schools, can't you?
Absolutely. They don't call me the yellow bass king for nothing.
Wait a minute. Whoa. you sometimes target them, right?
Oh man, there's times we can't get away from them.
Well, okay. So how about in the summer? I mean, if you want, say you forgot all about, which would be hard for a guy like you to do. Say you forgot about crappie for a morning. You think if you were going to target yellow bass, or would they be an incidental catch, do you think?
No, we would go. A lot of times when we're bouncing slabs for sand bass, we'll get into some schools of yellow bass. They'll run with them a lot more.
Yeah. Kind of downsize the slab maybe if you wanted to really go.
Absolutely. Those little guys are aggressive and they're mad at the world.
Boy, they will. They hit hard too. Like if they were as big as a largemouth, you'd.
Oh my goodness.
Take a winch to get them in. Well, Chris, the word from Cedar Creek Lake. I guess we should, of course, all our great radio stations. Thank goodness for all the stations. They could run any radio show, but for years, many of them have ran Catfish Radio. But it also becomes a podcast, and not everybody knows where Cedar Creek Lake is, but friends, it's southeast of Dallas. If you're listening to a podcast after the radio stations run this, southeast of Dallas, about no more than an hour out Highway 175. And Chris Webb here is my buddy, guides on the lake for hybrids, and got some nice hybrid stripers and lots of sand bass, catfish, and crappie. So, Chris, how would people call you if they're out this way, if they'd want to, get out there and catch some of these crappie with you? What's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, Luke, I tell you, the easiest way to get a hold of me is call or text me at 903-275-3253. Right now is a great time to bring the family and the kiddos fishing. You can also find me on Facebook at Chris Webb, Chris Webb's Guide Service. Chris Webb
Guide Service on Facebook. Well, Chris, thanks a lot, and keep those yellow bass in mind. That might be a future adventure for us.
Hey, if that's what you want to do, I'll tell you what, I'll start filling your cage up right now.
Okay. We'll talk to you real soon, buddy. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
Folks, I want to tell you about one of my long-term partners, and that is Pyramid Air. The website is pyrmydair.com. They're a one-stop shop for everything airgun related. Big bores, little bores, PCP guns, springers, you name it. All different brands, some great airgun supplies, but also a whole lot more. Archery, ammo, optics, shooting and outdoor gear, action sports, all this stuff can be found right there and ordered through Pyramid Air. So remember, go online to pyrmydair.com.
The snowflakes fall as winter comes, and time just seems to fly.
Friends, I've been shooting and hunting with CVA muzzleloaders a long time. They are, in my opinion, the best muzzleloaders on the market. But did you know CVA also makes a very fine line of centerfire rifles, built to last and super accurate? Been hunting with those for several years. Check them both out, the muzzleloaders and the centerfires, online at cva.com. Folks, I want to introduce you to some good friends of mine at Dash for Cash Pawn Shop in Seagoville, Texas, located at 133 Hall Street. The phone number is 972-287-3121. Go by there and talk with Gary or Randy, the owner. They're great people. They've got some great prices. Again, that's the Dash for Cash Pawn Shop, Seagoville, Texas, 972-287-3121. Well, friends, I hope you've enjoyed our show. We have had a smorgasbord of topics: crappie fishing, Virginia, going up to Virginia with Samuel Old, and a lot of stuff. And I promised that we would get Larry back in our campfire talk, our first segment, and talk about crossbows. So let's do that. Larry, thank you for sticking around and coming back with us here to wrap our show up.
Absolutely. The crossbow thing is, when I was kind of a little bit bigger than a little kid, I first time I ever had a chance to. I've saved up money and saved up money and saved up money, and I've seen some kind of movie somewhere where they're shooting crossbows. So I brought a what was then a cheap crossbow, and I remember putting up a hay bale in front of our tin barn back behind the house, and I proceeded to put about 4 or 5 bolts within about 10 to 15 feet of that hay bale at about 25 steps, shot holes in the barn, got into all kinds of trouble with my dad because it went through the tin. And, and so for the longest time, I totally avoided crossbows of any kind. When people started talking about them, I just kind of kept my mouth shut and didn't tell my story about almost being able to hit the broadside of a barn. But I had an opportunity not too terribly long. It was up on the Choctaw. Now, you and I both love the Choctaw hunting lodge. We spend as much time up there with Dusty and Nicole Vicker as we can. And the guys from Aviant were there, and they had invited the guys from 10-point crossbows. And while I was there, I got to spend a little time with those guys, and then actually took a 10-point crossbow. Dusty Vickery and I did, and went out and I shot a hog with it. And the next afternoon, I shot a 3-legged fallow doe with it. And I have to say that I was so impressed that I was able to procure one of those crossbows in preparation for some deer hunting this year, but also to go back up there to the Choctaw and hunt bear during their archery season come October. But you've got one now too. And so, man, I can't wait for us to get together and do a little serious shooting with those, and then also to get out and do some really serious deer hunting this fall.
Me too, Larry. Yeah, I've shot crossbows. Oh, I remember probably 10 years ago, a company sent me a crossbow, and it was a good one for the time, for that era. Right. It really was. But you pulled it with a kind of a fulcrum type deal with a string on it, and you pulled it back up, put your foot in a stirrup there at the bottom and pulled back up and cocked it. And uncocking it, well, back then I'd actually shoot it into a block. I carried a block with me, and I'd shoot it into that. But they've come so far. And the accuracy, this 10-point, of course, anybody knows anything about crossbows knows 10-point is one of the top bows that you can find anywhere. They really are good bows, very accurate. But this one, mine has it's the easiest to cock and uncock that I've ever seen. It's got a slide on mine, and this slide goes down and attaches to the string. And then it's got a crank handle that fits into the stock. You just pull it out, snap it onto the fitting, and crank it back. It's easy to crank, easy to cock,
Yes.
Well, and then you just take the crank off, and you're loaded up, ready to go. But the difference in this one and the ones that I've used, it's the AccuSlide, I think is the name of it. But it's actually a piece of very strong fabric with the cocking mechanism built on the end of it that slides down the top of the rail, attaches to your string, and then you just crank it up very easily with a crank, a hand crank. That to me is light years ahead of the ones that I used to shoot, back in 10, 12 years ago. And I've killed deer with them back then and several hogs, but I guess because I shoot a compound also, it was kind of a novelty back then. But now this one comes with a scope. And, Larry, I know you've already been through this learning curve with the 10-point, but I sighted it in dead on, and I mean on at 20 yards. I mean, right, put the bolt in the same hole at that distance with a good rest. And then I wanted to test it. And I backed out to 30 yards.
Right.
And put, it's a lighted sight pin or pins on the thing's what it is. I like green best, and I looked at the 30-yard green pin, got a really good rest. Bingo, wham, same spot. I mean, it hit right in the center of my bullseye. And I've shot it now out to 40 yards. Now, I'm like we were talking earlier, I don't think I'd have a problem, honestly, thus far, a good standing broadside shot at 40. If that's the only all I could get, I think I would probably, after some more practice, I probably would take that. But
Right.
With a compound bow, the farthest I've ever shot an animal was 32 yards up in North Dakota a long time ago. But with this crossbow, it's there's a lot there was a whole bunch of controversy when crossbows became legal in Texas,
I remember.
And I remember thinking, wait a minute. Now, I've spent all this time, and I spend time every week staying proficient with my compound bow. I don't know about these crossbows. Well, I mean, and that's a decision everybody, an opinion that everybody's got a right to make for themselves. But I want to tell you, these things were a lot of fun to hunt with. A lot of fun. I'm going to be doing some hunting with it, deer and hogs, Yeah.
I intend to as well too. And you were telling me, we talked a little bit about this earlier. There's an area up on the in Oklahoma that, excuse me, I think you said that we may try to do a hunt on this year, and it will be a crossbow hunt as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend a little bit of time. This is a great time of the year anyway, in June, July, and August, to get very proficient with whatever you're going to hunt with this fall, to get out and do a bunch of shooting and, get your family out and get them to do some shooting with you or some friends. And so now's a really good time to do that. And it's a really great time if you're thinking about a crossbow. My gosh, I think there's no better time to get one of those 10 points than right now.
You're right, Larry. And it's a good archery in general. There's not many. Sometimes I'll skip a week, and I don't shoot my compound a lot at one time. Usually I shoot 10 arrows, and right. I like to, Mark Billette, who actually got me started in compound shooting a long time ago. He played a game, had a game with archery that was a lot of fun. This is without a rangefinder. And the game was have your target set up and then just go somewhere, stand somewhere. And right. I'm not talking about standing right in front of that target at 20 yards. No. Go off to the side and stand at 29 yards. You don't, right. And then the game, you make the shot, and then the follow-up shooters, you leave your arrow in, the one that initiates it, and then the follow-up shooters shoot theirs, and then the closest, That's just it's a real challenging game because you're not only testing your technique or your shooting skills, but your yardage. You're trying to guess that yardage. But that's that's a good way to spend time in the summer. Just playing with it and in the playing with it, you're getting ready for hunting season.
You're learning, and what you're talking about there is almost like real world hunting situations, where everybody carries rangefinders these days, but there's sometimes, usually when I'm going to hunt, if I'm going to be hunting from a permanent spot or sitting, I will range different areas to start with. So that when I see that animal, I've got a pretty good idea as to how far out that animal is, rather than, oh my God, I got to get my rangefinder and look. Because a lot of times on those older mature bucks, if that's what you're hunting for, or a wary doe, they ain't going to give you a whole lot of time. So you better have a pretty good idea as to what that yardage is before you even think about trying to range them, because by the time you do that, a lot of times they're gone. So do your ranging before you get ready to take that shot, and kind of keep that in your memory. It's okay, that stump over there is 35 yards, this one over here is 20, that over there is 40 or 50, or if you're using a rifle, even going out longer ways for a handgun. But do all that before you get ready to see that animal.
That's right. Well, Larry, we're about out of time. I sure appreciate you coming back. And folks, how about this? You thought Mr. Whitetail only shot deer with handguns. He's known for that, but I've also seen him use a crossbow, and other muzzle loader and everything else. But I look forward to our next time to get together, Larry. So I want to thank you for being with us, and all of our guests. Gosh, like I say, we've covered the gamut in today's show. But next week at the same time, as they say, we're going to be right back here and talk some more fun hunting and fishing, aren't we? Friends, I hope you've enjoyed our show. This is our 20th year to be doing Catfish Radio, and I enjoy doing it now probably more than I did when I first began. It's lots of fun every week. But I want to tell you about a destination, one of my favorite destinations, and it's the Choctaw Hunting Lodge. It's up in southeast Oklahoma, maybe an hour north of Paris. I don't think it's that far, but it's an awesome place. You can go online to ChoctawHuntingLodge.com and check it out. Beautiful lodge there, trophy deer hunting on thousands of acres of Choctaw tribal land up there. It's just, if you ever go up there, you will return. A lot of eastern turkey in that part of the country, and probably our closest destination for many Texans to have a real chance to kill an eastern turkey. So that's got that going on. Exotic hunting, hog hunting. If you're an outdoor person, you'd love a visit there at the Choctaw Hunting Lodge. Folks, we are out of time. Make sure and tune in next week and be safe in the outdoors.